So I came across this article. Newsweek, Devil May Cry 5 voice actors deal with controversial YouTube videos. So I didn't even know Newsweek was still around. Last time I saw anything with Newsweek was like in a dentist's office. And there was like a Newsweek magazine on the table. I think that's the last time I ever heard of them. I didn't even know they exist anymore. So this is about the lowest of the low. We got this guy, Steven Asher here, whatever his name is. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Put together this really half-baked article full of a lot of accusations and mudslinging. So you can already tell from the title, voice actors deal with controversial YouTube videos from Devil May Cry 5, right? So basically using Devil May Cry 5, which is getting a lot of praise right now, for some clicks on this garbage tier article. So what he did was he ties Joey Kamen here, who plays one character in that game, and then he goes to Reuben Langdon. So he takes the podcast that I went on Toy Bounty Hunters and did with Reuben, like what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and takes a lot of stuff out of context and mudslings on him. This is probably going to be the first of many. I kind of worried that this was going to happen. There's a website that's also talking about this that we're going to go over, but I want to spend some time on this article first and show you exactly what he did. So the first thing he did was go to Joey Kamen's YouTube. You can see here, I'm not even going to really touch on him too much. He didn't really talk about him that much. What he did was take the most outrageous videos that this guy did and posted them on there and put a little bit of context. It's just to prime you up by giving you something really outrageous to read and watch before you go and read about Reuben. But if you go to Kamen TV, which is Joey's YouTube channel here, you'll see it's been 2 years since he's even been active on it. But it's not full of like racist stuff like that guy was saying. He makes videos on poor white people, Arnold Schwarzenegger, vegans, alcoholics, stuff like that. It's full of outrage humor. It's meant to be crude and offensively funny. This guy is making light of that, but how come this type of humor is bad, but James Gunn's humor is okay? We need to stop being the humor police, which is really kind of a dangerous road to go down in a lot of ways. But, you know, this is just a really good example of this guy cherry picking stuff off of this guy's videos here and then, you know, putting him over here and making it look like that channel that's all about that. And this guy's some big monstrous piece of crap. It's really shoddy journalism. And I find it funny that this guy, you know, he works for tech and science, right? And he sure is doing a great job with that, right? Why is first off, why is this even under tech and science? What is so technical and sciencey about Devil May Cry 5 voice actors deal with controversial YouTube videos? You belong in the gossip column, man, is where you belong. You don't belong here in tech and science. And like, look at some of the articles on here for tech and science. It's got here, Team Soul Mid drops Fortnite player Cowboy. What does that have to do with tech and science? All right, so here's the article itself, and he gives like a 2-sentence description on Reuben's history, and then he goes into what was going on, which it was an interview on Toy Bounty Hunter's channel, and I came on there, and Hero Hay eventually came on as well. Now, it's funny that he mentions Hero Hay. Hero Hay didn't come on until the tail end of the interview, number one. And listen, this is how you know this is some shoddy journalism here. Listen to what he says. The interview includes Hero Hay and the YellowFlash, 2 YouTubers who made videos brigading against Twitter warriors, Star Wars, and the Vic Mignogna accusations. So, let me ask you something. I already forgot your name, Steven. Where do you see Star Wars videos on here? Huh? Did you even look at any of our channels? Did you just look at this and then throw Star Wars in there? I barely talk about Star Wars. The last time I talked about Star Wars was 5 months ago when I did Solo, a Trash Wars story rant, where I reviewed it because I thought the movie was a pile of garbage. I haven't talked about Star Wars in months, but apparently that's the central theme of my channel. Apparently that's the same with Hero Hay, who pretty much talks about Ruby. So I think that just points out some of the garbage investigating this guy did. He literally just probably listened to that podcast and then crapped out this article. And it's very evident in the spelling mistakes that he has in here and such, and the really shoddy kind of investigating. The Star Wars thing really made me laugh. It's like, are you getting me mixed up with Comic Artist Pro Secrets or something? He's the Star Wars guy. I barely talk about Star Wars unless something really interests me. But, you know, hey, who cares about facts in mainstream media? What are those anyway? Also, you took a lot of time to share these videos. Why didn't you share Toy Bounty Hunter's video? Why didn't you share that in here? You could have shared it right here. You didn't perhaps want people to go listen to it then so that you could provide your links here and not have any context. You can pretty much control the narrative, right, Mr. Steven? That's exactly what you're doing here. I just find that kind of funny. You shared these, which was to prime people up, let's be honest, to get them fueled and fired, but you didn't share the interview, which you could have easily done. It shows you know how to share videos on your website here, but you don't know how to link in the one that you're going to base this entire text under. That's really shoddy, man. So let's take a look at some of this cherry picking that he did here. So after he gets everything wrong about me and Hero Hey, he says they brought Langdon onto a live stream and decided to share his feelings on the Black Lives Matter and Me Too movements. I like how he messed up the word black here. That's quite humorous. Where's your editor? I have no editor, right? This is a completely solo operation here. But I would imagine Newsweek, the former glorious dental office magazine, would have some editor. What the hell were they doing? Right? Like, that's your job to capture that. Your editor also should have suggested that you include the source for this entire thing, but hey, you know, if there's anything we've learned from critiquing comics, editors don't really do much. So he goes on to say that these movements are never going to end. It's just going to be constantly throwing people under the bus, and it just creates more conflict than we've already been through. He said we need to start telling ourselves a new story and move forward in a new way. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like, look at the stuff that's come out against Amber Heard, right? So Johnny Depp had his career destroyed because Amber Heard threw some shade at him. Well, it turns out that wasn't such a clear case, as pictures have emerged of Johnny Depp with black eyes. Apparently his finger got chopped up, and there's witnesses now coming out against some of the crazy stuff that she did, including self-harm. So, yes, I think that we do need to question some things, but hey, you know, why would Newsweek bring that up? It kind of ruins their narrative, huh? So about an hour into the interview, I bring up the Manana asks Langdon how he feels about the situation, which I believe I did, or I actually think that Toy Bounty Hunters brought that up and then asked me to explain it a little bit, and I gave him a TLDR. We didn't have time to talk about the whole thing. But Langdon starts off by saying he isn't very knowledgeable about the Manana situation, but then continues to share his feelings about the subject. Vic is a very touchy-feely guy, and I've seen him interact with women in that way, and I've also seen women say no thanks, and he respects and says thank you very much. A lot of people just need to learn to stand up and say, if they don't feel comfortable with somebody, just stand up and say no thank you and move on. Langdon said, I had a hard time believing Vic would go further than a hug in any of these cases. And that's true. That's true. Vic, from people that know him, have all said he seems like a pretty good dude and loves his fans. And from what we've all seen at these conventions is that people are really huggy, and he's not the only one guilty of hugs. But, you know, him defending his friend here, that's blasphemy. There is no loyalty in these people. You should be spitting on your buddies, right? He's giving his off-the-cuff response, and that's what he said. But that's, you know, let's burn that man to the ground because he had an opinion about something. So here we get some copy and pasting on the Manana situation, and Langdon said he's pro-Manana, which I don't think should be, you know, thrown. You shouldn't destroy the man's life because he wants to stick by his buddy, number one, regardless of what's going on with Manana. I think that that's uncalled for. So you're going to use this situation to destroy a man, which is really what you're doing, because if you look at this article, he only talks about the things that were said on that podcast for 3 paragraphs. 3 paragraphs. But he ties it to this crazy ass and makes him look like some kind of monster. Though I like that he included this part, because this part I think is a really good thing that he said on the podcast. Langdon says that he is pro-manana and believes that people are going to these extremes to try to throw him under the bus, whether he is guilty or not. There's a collective pain in the public consciousness right now, and we are not going to heal that energy by kicking Vic out, which is absolutely true. You know, everyone's mad about stuff right now, and people aren't going to get better from this. If anything, it's just going to make it worse. I don't know how we fix all of this crazy outrage and trying to destroy people. It's like, whose life can we destroy this week to get a couple clicks? It's really sickening. It's really sickening that Newsweek is doing this, because then after doing that, he ties him up to his opinions on the president and Russia, and then starts to talk about UFOs. Now, the funny thing is here is he makes no secret that he's into the UFO stuff. That's well on the docket there, and that's not hidden. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of. I think that stuff's kind of interesting and pretty cool to hear about. I don't see the problem there, but you know, this whole article pretty much is just trying to make him look crazy, is what it's doing. It's really kind of sick. Also, you can use Devil May Cry for some clicks to maybe, you know, get your relevancy up at Newsweek. I don't know how it works. I would never want to be a journalist, because it's almost like being like an HR person that fires people all day, because you have to literally destroy people's lives to get relevancy. How many lives, I wonder, have you destroyed, Stephen Asher, or how we say your name? How many lives have you destroyed? That's what I would wonder. Do you sleep good at night writing an article like this on someone that you're going to hope maybe gets this man destroyed so that people will source you on the next one? Because I wonder who's next. Probably Polygon. Yeah, that's what I wonder. Like, how is him talking about the whole Russian thing bad? Because he's right. How many years have we been going on about this and there's still no evidence? He's absolutely right about that. But hey, you know, what does that matter? It's only going to upset you, right, Steven? So this is joke. This is one of the most garbage tier articles I think I've reviewed for the channel yet. It's really disgusting that this guy is taking Reuben's name and trying to destroy it so he can use Devil May Cry 5. Because I can tell you this right now, if that game didn't have good reviews like it does and hadn't just came out, this article right here wouldn't exist. It's almost a parallel to how they used Dragon Ball Super Broly to destroy Vic, because if that movie hadn't came out, we wouldn't be having this conversation either right now.